Many would see similarities between Turkey's President Erdogan and India's Narendra Modi. Both are strong personalities, they have a vision for their country and are clear about the direction they want to take their respective countries forward to. I have with me Mr. Ilnur Cevik. He is Chief Advisor to President Erdogan. Sir, welcome to Straight Talk.
Thank you.
Let's get straight to the point then.
Yes.
What kind of similarities do you see between Mr. Erdogan and Mr. Narendra Modi? Do you see similarities here?
Of course, they are both strong leaders. They both have a vision for their country, and they have a good vision for their country, a very positive one. India is the largest democracy in the world. Erdogan is proud to be the president of a country whose people have risen up to the occasion to stop tanks on July 15, 2016, to halt a coup, foil a military coup. So he's very proud with his people that they have lived up to his democratic expectations. So they're both democracy supporting people. They strongly support democracy. They have also a vision for their country, but also they are conservative people. One is a Hindu conservative, the other one is a Turkish conservative. And he cherishes these ideals that this nation should excel and become one of the leading nations in the world in the coming years, in the next 20 years. This is exactly what President Erdogan wants, but these are done for the benefit of their people, not at the cost of other people. They are not building their nations on blood, sweat and tears of other people. They're building it on their own strength of their own people, and this is very valuable. So I think there's a lot of similarities in that sense. They realize that pushing a country forward means economic achievement, means social achievement. They have to offer something for their people, and they have to serve their people. They're both servants of their people. They're not the masters of their people. So this is a very, very important point.
One of the issues that we keep referring to here in India is the fact that Mr. Modi never takes a holiday.
Yeah.
What about President Erdogan?
Well, President Erdogan tried to take a holiday. They staged a coup. It was his first rest in a very, very long time. And while he was in Marmaris, in the holiday resort, there was this coup attempt, and he cut short it under threat of actually helicopter gunships and a suicide squad that was coming, an assassination squad that was coming to kill him. He slipped out of Marmaris, flew back to Istanbul, and headed the anti-coup movement. So, I mean, you know, the poor man, he wanted to have a relaxation for once, but he couldn't.
Has Mr. Erdogan ever talked to you about Mr. Modi ahead of this visit?
Well, after the G20 summit, he was very appreciative of the Prime Minister. He felt that here is a world leader who we can do business with. This is what he said.
And this visit has been planned earlier? It was obviously...
Yes. Actually, this was planned after the G20 summit, because they had formed this excellent chemistry. They were fond of each other, but not only that, they appreciate the value of their two countries, and that their aims also were parallel. So they wanted this meeting long before, just after the 2015 G20 summit in Antalya. However, that couldn't be done, and all the problems that went on for nearly 1.5 years unfortunately enabled us to set this visit. But now, thank God, it's being done, and it's a very welcome development for me personally, because I cherish Turkish-Indian relations so much.
We are two countries that are aware of each other. There's a history also.
Yes.
But we are not close and we don't interact much. Would you say that's...
Yes, that's true, but it's not because of the distance. There are a lot of countries far away from each other which are very close friends. I think the problem there is usually Turkey has been too inward looking for a very long time. Prime Minister Turgut Özal at that time and Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi, the two late leaders, they tried to forge a relationship and it was going good. But in the 90s, it was rudely interrupted and it never got off again. Now things have changed. India is not the old India. India is a strong, not only a strong democracy, but a growing economy, a free market economy. India was not a free market economy before. India is emerging as the star of its region. So is Turkey. And there are so many similarities between the two countries. They're both growing. They're both very successful in the economic field. They're both developing markets, which is an envy to everyone in the world. So there's this thing that really brought them together. It's natural. And I think we are going to rediscover this friendship once our president is here. And that friendship we have to build up on. We have to be very, very pushy about it to build this relationship because the peoples of the two countries deserve this.
Does personal empathy between two leaders, does it help drive their respective relations, or are they, in a sense, does it hold back because both come forward with their own national agendas, you know?
Of course, no, the empathy is there because they are realists. They realize the problems that are involved. They don't want to get into the problems that will scuttle the relationship. This is in a very infantile state. We have to build up. They realize the problems involved. They realize the obstacles. So they're not going to get into the nitty-gritty stuff. They will concentrate first on building the relationship on an economic basis and then on a social and political basis.
So what would you define as the three main issues that would drive Indo-Turkish relations forward in the next decade?
Number one, the fact that they both cherish international justice and their fight against oppression, international oppression. They're against countries that oppress people. They're against those countries that are not helping the needy, the underprivileged. Turkey has been hosting 3 million Syrian refugees running away from Assad's brutality. Now, Turkey has been doing this not only for the Syrians, but for the Somalians, but for the Sudanese, but for many people in Africa. This is exactly what Mahatma Gandhi stood up for, the founding fathers of India, and this is exactly what I think the Prime Minister is standing up for here. So these values are number one. These will be one of the factors that are really pushing us ahead. Number two is with both strong economies and thriving economies. And it is time that we join forces to do something together to further excel this process, to build up that momentum. And how can it be done? Well, we have a lot of areas that we're strong in, and there are a lot of areas that you are strong in. We can complement each other. For instance, your aviation and space industry, you have excelled in it. The IT industry, information technology, is Mr. India. The name of India is IT. I mean, everybody identifies, even in American jokes they're talking about India as the IT kings. and it's true. Then we are very strong at contracting sector, in the construction sector. We are very, very strong. We are building all these important projects in Turkey. Tunnels under the Bosphorus. We have built nearly 3 tunnels under the Bosphorus to allow transportation. We have built bridges. Why? Because we want Indian goods to flow to Europe. You can take a train from India when the whole project is finished, and without non-stop, even not stopping in the Bosphorus, you don't have to cross the sea. It's already there, the crossings. You can go all the way up to Europe. Now, that is an asset. We are building all these. We're very good builders. We can build a lot in India. We can build a lot together in other countries. Then, of course, you have manufacturing, processing industries, which we're very strong at. So, banking sector, the finance sector is very important. We can do a lot in this area. Turkey is building one of the world's biggest airports in Istanbul. We are a hub now. Everybody's moving to Europe, to the United States, from Asia through Turkey. And with this new airport, we're going to even be a bigger hub. And India will be our partner. We love India to be our partner in many things. So that is the other area.
What about defense?
And defense, that is very important. India has a very strong defense industry, but also India is the world's number 2 importers of defense material. We have a lot to offer to India in the defense sector. There has been a lie going on that Turkey has once upon a time imposed an arms embargo in India. That is a complete lie. There's no such thing. Turkey has no desire to impose anything on India. We want to push you through in the nuclear sector, in the defense sector. We are interested in, firstly, in a framework agreement, because we can't do anything without a framework agreement. We have to do a kind of framework agreement regarding cooperation in the defense industry. Once that is set, then sky's the limit. We can do a lot of things together.
So I understand that Turkey has been producing armored vehicles.
Yes, we are producing armored vehicles, very good armored vehicles. We're selling it to Malaysia. We're selling it to several countries around the world. We are producing optical material. We're producing various defense items. But India is also very strong in the aviation sector. We're trying to build our own aircraft. There's a lot we can do in cooperation in this area. Plus, we have drones, very effective drones. Turkish-made drones have helped us in our fight against terrorism, against the PKK. Now, and in the last few months, we have been very successful in using those drones to curb the terrorist incidents in Turkey. So those drones are also available to India.
Would Pakistan be a factor in a defense relationship between India and Turkey?
Not at all. Our relationship with Pakistan is independent of our relationship with India. This is the kind of motto that we have created. Our relationship with Pakistan will never be an obstacle to our relationship with India. We want that to rediscover India and to excel in our relations with India.
When you look at the PKK and the Kurdish groups, Islamic State, there is a terrorism issue in Turkey.
Yeah.
We also have a major terrorist issue in India, principally from groups that are based in Pakistan. How does Turkey look at this scenario here, given the fact that your country has fairly good relations with Pakistan?
Well, at the moment, what our basic idea is to build up the relationship with India, irrespective of anything else. However, of course, terrorism is a threat. Nobody can turn a blind eye to terrorism. We are against all forms of terrorism, no matter where it comes from. And the idea, our friends in Pakistan, we cannot say, they were involved in terrorism here, they're fomenting terrorism, they're using bases in Pakistan. We cannot say that. Just as nobody else can tell us that, there are terrorists who are being financed by the West, fomenting terrorism in Turkey. Now, but to put it very bluntly, we are against all forms of terrorism, no matter where they come from. If proven, we will of course tell people that, look, we are one of the major victims of terrorism, of ISIS terrorism, of PKK terrorism, of left-wing terrorism. I mean, we've lost more lives in the past few years than anybody else in the world. So it is our right to fight against terrorism and to speak up against terrorism, no matter where it comes from.
Do you envisage India and Turkey training together, their armed forces training together, whether in counter-terrorism or in any other normal course of events? Do you see exchange of intelligence on terrorism?
Well, I think everything is step by step. Once we establish this building of friendship, then sky's the limit.
So when you go back to Turkey, what would you say are the three main areas where you would want to concentrate your energies in terms of pushing this relationship forward?
Well, we have to, number one, we have to build a relationship between the peoples. We have to socialize. We have to bring tourists from exchange of tourists is very important because it's a human-to-human relationship. Indians have to see Turkey, many Indians do. Many Turks have to see the richness of India, the beauties of India, and appreciate that we're living in this wonderful part of the world, both of us, enjoying the riches of the world, which nobody else does. And I think that is one area. The other area is we have to establish more social contacts. Not only tourism, but we should be allowed to build a cultural center here, which could help enhance Turkish culture in India, because there's a lot to do, but then also introduce Indian culture in Turkey. And we should increase arts relationship in media relationship. We have to, that is another important point, we have to report about each other directly. You see, we are more concentrated on the Western press. We depend on the Western press for news about each other. So the Western press is always biased, both against India and against Turkey, and we are getting the information from their mouth, which is biased. And then we get the wrong ideas about what's going on in each other's country. So we should be able to form a way of getting direct news from each other.
Which brings me to the point of reports that hundreds of journalists, 230 odd journalists, are in prison in Turkey. And there are draconian restrictions on publications and freedom of expression.
Well, we have seen that the number is around 80. And these people are not in prison because they're journalists, but because they were caught carrying arms. They were caught supporting a military coup. They were caught carrying, helping transportation of bombs. When you look at the cases, we have looked into it because Amnesty International gave a list. We looked at that list. None of those people were imprisoned, and none of them were what punished in the way that they put it. There were around 80, and these people were caught because, not because they wrote something or said something, because they were involved in criminal activities that were basically criminal, that are accepted as criminal by Indian law and Turkish law or American law.
So you would say that a lot of this information coming out of the West,
yes, it's completely
is a lie.
Yes, yes, it's completely distorted.
And as a journalist, you would say that there is as much freedom of press in Turkey as perhaps any other part of Europe?
Even more. Unfortunately, I'm saying unfortunate for them, for the Europeans, because this is a press which proved so defaultive, so defective in the past so many months. This is a press that supported a no campaign in Turkey. Okay, fine. You say it's freedom of expression. We are against your constitution changes. We lobbied against it. We as the Western press. Fine. But then when you do not give us a say to talk about the opposite, to talk about, yes, people in Europe, we want to address you. We want to tell you that, Turks in Europe, we want to tell you that these constitutional changes are good. Why don't you vote yes for it? They didn't allow us to even lobby in Europe. Can you imagine? I mean, they have really lost.
Which brings me to the question of the referendum that President Erdogan held. Is President Erdogan going to become a dictator of some kind? They say he could be the next caliph.
I mean, it is so wrong. I mean, President Erdogan, if he wanted to become a dictator, he would not have pushed for the changes in the constitution. Because the changes in the constitution have now made him responsible, and he's responsible to the parliament and to the people. Before, the president had these vast powers before the constitutional change. He was a president with vast powers with no responsibility. You could not hold him accountable for anything. He was not accountable to the parliament. Because why? Because those powers were given to the presidents of the past after the 1980 coup. Because they wanted the military, they thought that it would always be a general in charge as president, and he would use these vast powers to control the civilian government. So President Erdogan said, look, these are powers vested to me by junta leaders of the past. These are a prescription for creating a dictatorship, because nobody can ask an account of what I'm doing. They can't take me to court. There's nothing. I mean, I can do anything, and he could. And now he's saying, look, this has to change. I have to be an accountable president to the parliament. So where's the dictatorship in it?
So last question, what is President Erdogan? Is he a Democrat? Is he a reformer? Is he an Islamist? What is he?
He is, firstly, a practicing Muslim. But he's not an Islamist. He's a devout Muslim, but he does not reflect that in his policies. What is he? He's a Democrat, he's a reformer. Just like late Özal. Turgut Özal was a Democrat and a reformer. Erdogan is following in his footsteps.
So we can expect a more moderate, forward-looking,
of course,
modernizing Turkey?
Of course.
On that note, sir, thank you.
Of course. Thank you very much.
Pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.